Okay. Let me tell you about my notes today, because I wrote some things down this morning and I said I want to tell everybody about what I'm working on. So I was thinking one of the best things that I could share is some of the daily stuff that I'm doing that improves the quality of my life, right? I'm no expert on that necessarily, but I do implement things, I think, at a pretty high level. And all that really means to me is when I have a good idea or someone gives me a good idea, because they're never mine, I do them. And I do a lot of these things, right? So I'm reading this book right now that is called Living with a Seal, Jesse Itzler. And he's the guy that hired a SEAL, Dave Goggins, to live with him for 31 days. And it tracks what he does. He runs 6 miles in the morning, 3 miles at night, what he eats, the kind of stuff he talks about. You know, it's just really interesting because in the Western world where we are all about comfort and not doing anything outside of our comfort zone, it's interesting to see someone like that is not all about comfort. He's about staying uncomfortable and doing things to be moving forward and making progress and trying to, you know, the phrase or the quote is, the harder you are on yourself, the easier your life will be. And that's what I've been thinking about while I've been reading this book. So on Sunday, I ran 6 miles in the morning, 6.5 actually, and then I ran 3 miles at night. I've never done that. I did 9.5 miles in one day. And I've been trying to push myself in other areas in terms of fasting, going for a longer period of time without eating, just certain things that, you know, in North America, we don't do that often, right? So I wanted to share some of that. So I always have certain things that I'm working on, right? So I'll be watching an inspirational movie, maybe for a short period, a couple days a week. I'll be reading a book that's along the same lines, or listening to a podcast, or something like that. So right now, I'm listening to the book, The Untethered Soul. If you haven't listened to that book or read that book, I highly recommend that. So I like to have an audiobook for the car. I like to have a paperback book, not a hardback, but a paperback for the morning. I like a paperback book when I'm reading in the morning. That's Living with a Seal. That's the book I'm reading there. And the audiobook is The Untethered Soul. And then I like to have a YouTube channel and maybe even a movie or a show that I'm watching. And there's a couple different categories that I'll consider. Number one, if it's just funny or mindless, I'll allow some of that just as a way to keep some of the negativity out. So I might watch Seinfeld at night for 20 minutes before I go to bed. I won't watch 3 hours of anything, but I'll do that because I know what to expect. I know what it's about. I know it's not negative. It's not drama. It's not reality TV. It's nothing like that. It's just something that I can get a good laugh, end on a high note, go to sleep, right? So I have these things that are programmed into my schedule. This morning, I was watching the movie The Last Samurai. I've never seen that movie. It was recommended by someone the other day. They said, oh, this is one of the best movies ever. Now, I knew that it fit for me because it's kind of in the same genre that I'm looking for, which is uplifting and dramatic, exciting, you know, whatever. You can see that something like that, or Braveheart, or something in that genre will make sense. So I listened to the book, The Untethered Soul. I'm reading the paperback, Living with a Seal. I watched 20 minutes of The Last Samurai 2 days in a row. And the YouTube channel that I'll watch right now is a diet guy. I'll put him in the links. I can't remember what his name is, but he's a Dr. Hyman, Hyman. And he's got a YouTube channel. And he talks about how to add more fat to your diet. Not necessarily ketogenic, but a keto adaptive diet. So I've been watching him on YouTube. Like, if I catch myself, I was at Boy Scouts last night, and I couldn't do anything to help, so I watched that and learned about my diet. And when I'm driving, I got the book. So as you can see, there's some habits there, and that's kind of what I wanted to share some of that stuff today. I think that might be kind of an interesting piece. So I'm going to link all that stuff in the show notes. Hit like on the YouTube channel. Hit subscribe if you haven't already hit subscribe. Share this with somebody that might think the way that I think or might want to be involved in this channel. And keep watching, because I'm going to try to keep sharing some stuff that you can use. Hope you're doing well. See you next time. It's Tuesday.